Hey, Alan Newell coming to you live on a Wednesday night. It is, what is it, February the 15th. Yesterday was Valentine's Day. I hope y'all all had an amazing day. But it's the month of love. Valentine's Day, February is the month of love. But here, why don't we just make it the year of love? The month of love, the year of love, the life of love others, love people, share with people, and just it's time for all of us to come together and unite and just be kind to people, be loving to people, be it's just time. There's so much diversity, so much craziness going on in the world, that I think that it's time for all of us, and everybody's included, to be part of this. We've got tonight with us the amazing, the wonderful, the multi-talented Miss Dr. Inge Wetzel. And we always love her trainings and the information she brings to you tonight. And she's got an amazing presentation tonight about the silent killer. That little silent killer, and it's called diabetes. And it's just rampant in the world today. There's a lot going on. It's crazy. It's growing. I just saw a program yesterday. First of all, thank you for coming on, Inga. We appreciate you.
Oh, absolutely.
And I still don't see your screen share, but you just take your time, because me, I'm talking. But when has it got something to do with that page he's got on there, that record thing?
Oh God, I can't get it to do anything again. Well,
yeah, we might have to have Wetzel Pants come in there.
Yeah, he's tired and he won't be happy.
We don't tell him, don't make me get on a plane, fly out there to Missouri, Independence. Anyway, if you look at what's going on with just, I was just talking to somebody earlier, and I said, listen, do you know that 88 years ago, 1 in 3,600 Americans got cancer? And last year it was 1 in 2.3. And a lot of it due to the food we eat. Diabetes is rampant, growing like crazy. A lot of it due to the food we eat. And the fact that we're not getting the proper vitamins, minerals, and nutrients in our body. And do you know that when it comes to nutrition and health, everybody says, America, we live in the greatest country in the world. We're ranked number 27 when it comes to healthcare. I would be willing to bet you that most of you cannot name 26 other countries. I know we ship to 62 countries around the world, and I could name them if I pull them up on the screen, but I doubt I could name them just sitting here off the cuff. So Dr. Wetzel, Inge, is still trying to figure out her screen, but I tell you, it's amazing how much I've learned after working. It's been a great ride and a great enjoyment. We've learned so much from her and the trainings that she does and others do on our page. Last week she came on to do this same training, and we couldn't hear her. We can hear her this week, but she's having trouble getting her screen to play.
Yeah, I cannot click on share for some reason. It's
on the bottom of the screen where it says present.
I clicked on present. Let me get back out of this again. So I click on present.
Click on share screen.
Share screen. Then share screen.
And then you have to choose at the top either Chrome tab, window, or entire screen.
Entire screen.
I think it's a window you're sharing, isn't it? Is it a PowerPoint?
Okay, that's what. Okay, yeah, I clicked on window, but it still won't let me share.
Can you click? You got to click on the picture.
Okay.
That you're trying to share.
Okay.
And there it is. Look at that.
Awesome.
Good stuff. So there's what you're seeing, and you're seeing the big part and the small part. You may want to adjust that a little bit, or listen. It's okay with me. But just so thankful that all the stuff that we've learned from Inge Wetzel, NDCNHP, board certified all over the world. And we're excited to have her on. Inge, we always appreciate you coming on and sharing. Are you good with your screen the way it is?
I'm good with the way it is.
All right, perfect. So I'm going to back out, and I'm going to turn it over to the expert, the one who takes her time and spends with us, even though it's past her bedtime, and shares with us regularly an amazing training. So thank you, Inge. So if you will take it away, it's all yours.
Thank you so much, Alan. Well, I'll dive right in because we see so much diabetes and even undiagnosed diabetes. And I won't go into that, except for the fact that a lot of people are diagnosed with what they call pre-diabetes. But I always say that I am pre-pregnant. It's pre what? You are or you're not. And that's all I'll say about that. So let's take, oh my gosh. And here we will not move forward with the presentation. It's always something with this technology. I apologize. Let me go to a different screen and see if this works. So we'll just use this screen. So millions stand on the brink of diabetes disaster. And I say, do you? Because most people don't even know it. And I'm going to give you some information so you can diagnose yourself, because I'm not going to diagnose. I just want to educate you and put the power in your hand about your body. Portrait of an epidemic. 18 million Americans lack quality of life. Many are children and young adults. 6 million people, and this is an older statistic, so I think it's probably more now, are unaware that they have diabetes. 800,000 new cases will be diagnosed this year, and 33% of today's children will become diabetic. It is the 7th leading killer in the United States. The reason I have a picture of an iris there, because I do something that's called iridology, and I can take a look at people's eyes and I can tell if they have diabetes or not. And the eye picture that you're looking at there, you see all that orange color throughout the iris. That is a blood sugar symptom. Okay, that's all I can legally say about that, but that's a blood sugar problem when there's all that orange color in the eye. So what is diabetes? There is such a thing as what they call gestational diabetes, which really is a precursor to diabetes. But a lot of people don't know that. It occurs in expectant mothers, usually goes away after baby's birth. However, again, it is usually a sign that this person will develop diabetes later on. Then there's type 1 diabetes. In this case, the pancreas literally does not work at all. And in fact, it afflicts 1 million people in the United States. So it's caused by the pancreas's inability to produce or properly use insulin. Insulin converts sugar into energy. Type 1 diabetics require insulin injections to stabilize blood sugar. Like I said, their pancreas just does not work. So we're going to focus on type 2 because you have the power to change type 2. 95% of diabetics have this variety. It is previously known as adult onset diabetes, and the name has been changed because younger and younger people are now getting the disease. Type 2 people also struggle with insulin. The pancreas may not produce enough. The cells may have become insulin resistant. The majority of type 2 diabetics is linked to diet, lifestyle, and stress. One thing I want to point out here on top of the insulin resistant comment is that if you are insulin resistant, your body and your cells are also resistant to other hormones, because it means that there's inflammation in the wall of the cell, and the receptor sites have lost their proper shape to receive the hormone. So again, if it's the insulin receptor site, there are other receptor sites that are not working. And I just want you to get that picture, because it's all due to inflammation and diet. So how bad is it? Type 2 diabetes is the fastest growing disease in America today. The average American today eats 530 calories more than he did in 1970. We have a deadly fascination with junk food. So the average American eats 60 pounds of cookies and cake. And I probably don't eat a small percentage of that. So somebody else is getting my pounds on top of that. Okay. Ice cream, 23 gallons of ice cream is what the average American eats. 7 pounds of potato chips and 51 pounds of French fries and 57 gallons of soda pop is what the average American takes in a year. Again, I am not that person, so somebody is getting my part. So what are some of the signs of diabetes? Increased or frequent urination, increased thirst, appetite, unexplained weight loss while having increased appetite, absence of menstrual cycle and or body hair in women, increase of infection and poor healing, impotence in men, abdominal discomfort after eating, increased weakness or fatigue, the waist of more than 35 inches in women and more than 40 inches in men. Yes, that is the bottom line. If your waist is more than 35 inches, ladies, you are already diabetic based on statistics. And for men, this is 40 inches. Here you see a picture of a person's legs that are quite swollen. I wanted to point that out because you indeed see a lot of that in diabetics, and you see the ulcers and the dark colors and the poor circulation. This is because when you develop blood sugar problems like diabetes, your veins start leaking and the fluid leaks through the walls of the veins into the legs. I'm getting ready to bring in a product to help repair those veins to reduce this type of swelling in people's legs, but it is rather uncomfortable, as you can imagine. And the poor circulation, needless to say, leads to chronic and painful condition called neuropathy. Let's take a look at fatty liver. How often do I see, oh, I was diagnosed with fatty liver? Fatty liver is diabetes, plain and simple. You see a healthy liver and a fatty liver. That fatty liver is jammed up with sugar. That is what fatty liver disease is. So again, bear in mind, it is diet related. So are you at risk? Some of the risk factors for type 2 diabetes: do you have a family history of the disease? Are you more than 40 years of age? Is your body pear-shaped rather than apple-shaped? And here again is the waist size, 35 inches for women or more than 40 inches in men. Do you lead a sedentary lifestyle and eat a high-fat, high-calorie diet? Do you have high blood pressure? For women, do you have a history of gestational diabetes or polycystic ovarian syndrome, what they call PCOS? That's a hormonal disorder causing women to have irregular and absent menstruation and also body hair. Are you African American, Hispanic American, or Native American? People with brown eyes, true brown eyes, are more susceptible to diabetes. Do you have a history of kidney or gallbladder stones? Those are all risk factors. Let's take a look at the role of sugar. A diet high in sugar, grains, meats, and soda pop is a high acidic diet that causes calcium to go from the bones to the pancreas. So in other words, your body has a pH balance. Your blood cannot change pH. If your blood changes pH by one number, you die. So the body is constantly robbing Peter to pay Paul to keep the engine running, so to speak. In this case here, calcium is given up from the bones and it literally goes into the pancreas, so the pancreas can no longer work. So it not only causes osteoporosis, again, it jams up the pancreas and it cannot, where it cannot produce the proper insulin. This is from the Journal of American Medicine. Sugar is an addiction. It is no less an addiction than any drug. So too much sugar, your face suffers. It causes dark circles under the eyes, loss of radiance and puffiness, increase in fine lines and wrinkles, a loss of facial contours, an increase in pore size. A century ago, the average adult consumed 18 pounds of sugar per year. Today, the average American consumes 176 pounds per person. That is nearly 1,000% more sugar than 100 years ago. Now I'm going to show you something that may shock you. This is a brain scan. On the left-hand side, you see the brain where the sugar cells. On the right-hand side, you see the area where cocaine settles. Sugar in the brain is the same addiction as cocaine. It goes to the same receptor sites. That is how addictive sugar is, and it needs to be treated as an addiction. It is not something to be taken lightly. As you probably will know, cocaine is not an easy fix. Neither is sugar. Okay. So what should our blood sugar levels be? Normal glucose levels, fasting before breakfast, between 80 and 120, and I actually prefer 80 to 100, if I may give my opinion in this case. 1 to 2 hours after breakfast, it can be less than 180. Before lunch, again, 80 to 120. And again, I prefer 80 to 100. 1 to 2 hours after lunch, it can be less than 180. Before dinner, again, 80 to 120 according to them, 80 to 100 according to me. 1 to 2 hours after dinner, keep it below 180. Bedtime should be 100 to 140. 3 a.m., not that you will check it at 3 a.m., 70 to 110. Okay, those are expected, quote unquote, normal blood sugar levels. So why is inflammation so bad? Inflammation damages your cell membranes, making them stiffer. And what I mentioned earlier, it changes the receptor sites to be less receptive to insulin. If you think of insulin as a key and a receptor site as a keyhole, a key has to be a perfect match to that keyhole, otherwise it cannot enter in. So in this case, the key of insulin is trying to get into the insulin receptor site, but inflammation has changed the shape of the keyhole. And here we have a problem with the receptor sites. Chronic stress leads to inflammation, and our toxic environment leads to inflammation. And as I mentioned here a little earlier, the pH, an acid pH, also leads to inflammation. Stress. Anybody have stress? Of course not. Why would we have stress this day and age, right? So when people have less than 4 hours sleep per night, you have reduced insulin production by 30%. Here is your chance for diabetes, not sleeping well. People don't relate the two. Restoring sleep literally can normalize production, but it takes 40% longer to accomplish this. And chronic sleep deprivation may cause permanent insulin resistance. I love the 1500, the advanced 1500 CBD from Touchstone. I have never slept as well as since I started using that at night. The deeper sleep, longer sleep, it's incredible. Not only does it help with the insulin resistance and with the stress and with the sleep, but it also is an essential fatty acid, helping the cell membranes not to become as stiff. So it has multiple uses in your body. We are the first generation to bury our children due to diabetes. This is not something I came up with. This is well known in the medical community. We see it all the time. Not only are these children dying, these children are having strokes. Younger and younger do we hear of children having strokes, and it is diet induced. You know, when kids don't want to eat what's healthy for them, I'm old school. My kids, if they didn't want to eat what we gave them, it came back the next meal. You know, I am not, I never have given sweets or desserts or anything like that. If they, you know, didn't finish their dinner or try to get them to eat something, this is just, you know, it's old school, like I said, but my kids grew up pretty healthy. So let's take a look at the side effects and the cost of diabetes. Side effects can be anything from death to shaking, to sweating, to heart problems, and much, much more. Oh, but that won't happen to me. Really? Strokes. Major, major dollars. What happens when you have diabetes? Your blood becomes sticky. It's syrup, and it damages the walls of your blood supply, of your blood vessels. And when there is damage to the blood vessels, the way your body has been made is that it sends plaque to those arterial walls to patch the damages. And so when plaque builds up and plaque breaks loose, you end up either with a heart attack or a stroke. In the cases of stroke, it happens in the brain. In the case of a heart attack, the plaque goes to the heart and does damage there. That is a huge expense, not only for you medically, but it can be taking a toll on your family who needs to take care of you, because that's something else to consider. I am going to mention something called metabolic syndrome here. If you have metabolic syndrome, and I'll give you the information on what that is, you are at 2 times at a higher risk for developing cardiovascular disease, 5 times higher risk for diabetes, and an increased risk for cancer. Okay. According to the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, it shows that more than 1 in 3 Americans meet the diagnostic criteria for metabolic syndrome. Alrighty, so let's identify metabolic syndrome. Elevated waist. Men, we've mentioned this several times, more than 40 inches. Women, greater than 35 inches. Elevated triglycerides, equal or greater than 150. Reduced HDL, the good cholesterol. In men, if it's less than 40. In women, if it's less than 50. Elevated blood pressure, meaning equal to a greater than 130/85. And elevated fasting glucose, equal or greater than 100. Like I mentioned earlier, I like to see it between 80 and 100 fasting glucose in the morning. But if you meet these criteria, then here are your risks. 2 times higher developing cardiovascular disease, 5 times the risk for diabetes, and increased risk for cancer. 1 out of 3 Americans fits this description. You can identify that in your own life, obviously. So what is the answer? Good fat replaces bad fat. If you cook with anything fatty, it turns rancid and then becomes a bad fat. Wellspring is a whole food essential fatty acid that can replace the bad fat. Good fats also fight inflammation. Now, this particular formula of Wellspring fights inflammation not only because it has good fats, but also contains ginger and turmeric, both anti-inflammatory. Good fat also reduces insulin resistance because it keeps that cell wall from becoming stiff and inflamed, right? Good fat helps to keep your arteries clean. It also increases your good cholesterol, your HDL. And Wellspring, like I said, is anti-inflammatory, not just because the essential fatty acids, but also the turmeric and the ginger. So I believe that at least 1 out of 3 Americans should be taking Wellspring. Why is protein important? Protein within 45 minutes of arising balances blood sugar. Protein first thing in the morning feeds your adrenal glands. It doesn't do that later on in the day. It only does this in the morning hours. Your stress glands, the adrenal glands produce the master hormones for your body, very much involved with diabetes. Protein first thing in the morning, just in case you think you might need it, it feeds the brain. These functions happen in the morning hours only, not in the afternoon, not in the evening. Okay? So what do we do for breakfast? We have our protein shake along with super green juice. Super green juice balances pH. I mentioned earlier that a food that is lacking in greens, high in meat and grains, dairy, things like that, causes an acid environment. Okay, acid food causes inflammation / diabetes. Organic super green juice balances pH. It provides essential nutrition, contains 44 superfoods, it contains enzymes, prebiotics, and probiotics. One of the most important things you can do for a diabetic, make sure they get their enzymes. Okay, this is whole food. It contains everything that is naturally present in food. The enzymes, prebiotics, etc., are not added to the greens. They are part of the greens as naturally present. Critical supplement for diabetics. Essentials. It's a QAI certified whole food supplement. QAI, Quality Assurance International, is an international certification for organic quality supplements. Okay, it's not easy to get, and Touchstone has it. It is highly anti-inflammatory. It has a high ORAC. It provides protection from major serious illnesses. It may reduce blood sugar because it contains cinnamon. It contains enzymes. It promotes immunity and natural energy. It does almost everything you need your body to do. So it's a very critical supplement for anybody at risk for blood sugar problems. Essential. Again, adrenals and thyroid control your glucose. If you do not have enough thyroid hormones, you have too much glucose in the bloodstream. Thyroid hormones grab the glucose, take it into the cell to be used for energy. If you don't have enough thyroid hormones, the glucose stays in the blood, causing diabetes. Again, adrenals produce the master hormones that control all this. These are available on my website, and the link to my website is at the bottom of the slide, dringewetzel.com. But those are very essential for blood sugar balancing and health. Okay, in case you have a more serious problem, we have another blood sugar formula that is called Blood Sugar Harmony that I use in people. It contains cinnamon, nopal, which is a cactus. It's actually eaten as a food in Mexico. Very good for blood sugar. Gymnema, bitter melon. Bitter melon is eaten in China. It is bitter, so you don't want to eat it as a food. I've tried it. Fenugreek and stevia. It's a wonderful formula that helps balance blood sugar. Let's take a look at the endocrine disruptors. Like I said, insulin is a hormone. Hormone is part of the endocrine system. So inflammation starts in the gut. Fiber before a meal lowers glucose. I have people that have diabetes, and I get them to take a scoop of the organic super fiber before each meal. Then, of course, we need to heal the gut with our fulvic minerals, along with the zeolite that's in the fulvic minerals, and then the Pure Body Extra that takes the endocrine disruptors out of the body. This whole pack is called a gut detox pack, and it is $161 for all three. It's a very nice pack. It deals with the underlying issues that cause diabetes, and very important to get rid of the endocrine disruptors, because endocrine disruptors also get your thyroid hormones to work better, get your adrenal hormones to work better. We've got to get rid of the interferences that cause our body not to produce the proper hormones. Breakthrough Essentials, that's my line of products that I just showed. They are USDA organic. We have no fillers and no flow agents. They are glass bottles, plant-based and kosher, and NSF certified, I should put in there. Touchstone, USDA organic, gluten-free. They're vegan, non-GMO, QAI certified. Again, quality assurance, international, worldwide quality control. No fillers or flow agents. All capsules are in glass bottles. Quality is key. I wanted to share with you a couple of testimonies from people who are using these wonderful products and having great results. This person I know personally. She said, I struggle with blood sugar problems and had polycystic ovarian syndrome. That is too much sugar in the ovaries, okay? That is diet related. I had fatigue, sweats, and shakiness. I started on essentials, and now 3 months later, all symptoms are gone. How wonderful it is that. This is a young lady. She definitely does not have a waistline more than 35 inches. I'd be surprised if her waistline is 30 inches. So she's not obese or overweight, but yet had blood sugar problems due to diet. Somebody else. The top one I just repeated. The bottom one says, my mom has been losing weight. Her blood sugar is better than ever. Insulin intake is less, and her energy is much better, as well as her mood. She has taken super green juice, Pure Body Extra, and essentials. Isn't that exciting to see these wonderful stories coming in that we can provide people with? First-time customers, if you're interested in the Touchstone products, we have a $50 gift card. Please reach out to the person who invited you to watch this video, and we were happy to answer any questions if you have any. And I'll turn the time back over to Alan.
Thank you. Well, that was awesome. That was awesome as always. One Facebook user says, I drank protein for breakfast and it made me gain weight.
Is she drinking our protein for breakfast?
That's a good question as to what protein. And I tell you too, something that kind of goes along with that is this is I tell people, well, I drink a protein shake in the morning. Oh, really? Yeah. How do you make it? Well, I can tell you that my grandson puts ice cream in his because he likes it with ice cream, and I'm like, okay, that's a milkshake. That's not a protein shake. And he goes, but I'm putting the protein in there. And so it has to do with a lot of, whole milk. What are you putting in there? What are you taking the protein powder? Number one, as you said, what is it? What kind of protein is it? And what are you mixing it with?
Exactly.
Why do
I
you
know so many people that add bananas. Banana is the favorite fruit of every diabetic.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
so high in sugar.
yeah, yeah. She said, tell her it's Jessica White. Great information, thanks for taking the time to share with us.
And
Banana
Jessica.
and listen, I'm bad about putting bananas in there, but I'm trying. I'm no longer doing that. If I do, I'll just put a half a banana in there.
I tell people berries are okay. They have a low glycemic index, but bananas, it's too much sugar. And the other thing is, Alan, let me explain this while we're discussing it. If you add too much sugar and fruit to a protein drink, you will not absorb the protein.
Ah,
The body looks at the protein and says, "Ooh, that's a lot of work to break that down." And then it looks at the sugar and the fruit and says, "Oh, that's easy. We'll just pull it right on through."
ah. Now I do put frozen blueberries in mine.
That's okay.
Organic frozen blueberries. Yeah. And then, of course, mine has the protein powder, the super green juice, the fiber, and the protein powder. Oh, and I already said protein, blueberries. And I tell you what I have found that I love is organic sugar-free coconut milk.
I don't do well on coconut milk, but I'm an A blood type.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I deal with the blood type diet. Yeah, I get nauseous when I get too much coconut in my system.
Gotcha. Does anybody else have any more questions other than telling us how amazing Miss Inga was? It's not great information, Inga and Alan. It's great information, Inga, and Alan just gets to hang around. So, Inga, is it okay to mix the super green juice with the protein powder?
Absolutely, I do it every morning. Yeah, it's a great combination because protein is acid forming and the greens are pH balancing. So it's a great combination.
I have a question that made me think of that because we have people. One person in particular comes to mind, and they said that they drink the super green juice at night before they go to bed, and it helps regulate their blood sugar.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. Absolutely, Alan. That's a great testimony.
So, if you're doing that, should you add the protein at night or no?
No, I think the reason the greens do that, Alan, is because it balances that pH.
Gotcha.
Your body goes through a pH cycle overnight. And when
Yeah.
you do protein at night, it changes the pH cycle in the opposite direction, why people develop problems and have problems sleeping. So the greens are excellent at night.
That's a great idea, and because this person actually has one of the glucose, I guess it's a glucose monitor that you wear, and so and many of you know Jana Clinton, and it's Jana's husband, and type 1 diabetic, and has the monitor, and so they were like, "There's no denying what that monitor says. It's a massive difference for him drinking the green juice at night." So that's great to know that you can do that, but don't add a protein powder.
I would not, yeah, protein at night. We don't even hardly eat protein at night. I
Gotcha.
may have a little bit of fish at night, but our main meals at night don't have protein,
Gotcha.
especially if you eat after 6 o'clock at night. You know me, I like to eat between 5 and 6.
Gotcha. I don't know what your schedule is tomorrow, but that I'll be calling Inga tomorrow, and I think that's Jessica White. So,
Hey, I look forward to hearing from you, Jessica. It's been a while.
yeah. All righty. Well, any more questions before we let Miss Inga go? Otherwise, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the great information, Inga. And this is recorded. Inga uploads it to her personal YouTube page, and it's also on the Team Elevation YouTube page. And we're going to get more and more on that. And so now that, but we appreciate you coming on, Inga, and stay on with me for a minute after I end the broadcast, and I'll tell you something here.
All right.